Hi, I'm Albert and welcome to my channel Allow Signal. I created this channel because I'm a big fan of PC gaming and I wanted to share what I think are the best gaming hardware that you can buy here in Singapore. As a PC gamer, I've been looking for 4K 144Hz gaming monitors ever since I bought my 3080 last year. So let's move on to what features I consider important when choosing a gaming monitor. The key feature I consider most important, of course, is that the monitor must support 4K and 144Hz with FreeSync or G-Sync. The screen sizes I'm looking at today are between 27 inch to 43 inches. And of course, what type of panel is it using? Is it IPS? Is it VA? As for the color accuracy of the screen, I personally look out for sRGB and DCI-P3 coverage. And as for the screen brightness, we can depend on display HDR rating. And for those using multiple monitors like me, one super important feature that we cannot ignore is display stream compression. This feature is important because it will allow you to use one single DisplayPort cable to get 4K 144Hz. Otherwise, you will need two DisplayPort cables, which will limit your setup. Like for me, I won't be able to do this. Then if you're planning to use HDMI to game at 4K 120Hz on your PC, PS5 or Xbox Series X, you'll need HDMI 2.1. Otherwise, you get a 4K 144Hz monitor with HDMI 2.0 and then you're stuck with 4K 60. Then I also don't know why you're paying so much money also. And lastly, of course, the most important comparison, which is how much it costs. How expensive definitely affects whether or not it's worth buying lah. So let's move on to the monitors on my list. Starting at number 5 of my list, it's the Acer Predator XP273K. As for the specifications, it's a 27-inch IPS display with sRGB at 99% and DCI-P3 at 90%, which is actually overkill for most gamers lah. In terms of brightness, it has a display HDR rating of 400 and DisplayPort 1.4 without display stream compression. This means you need two cables to get 4K 144Hz, and in addition to that, you need to disable HDR. And it only has HDMI 2.0. And this means your console gamers hoping to plug in your latest PS5 or Xbox Series X won't be able to game at 4K 120Hz. And of course, the most important comparison is the price. I managed to find this monitor at about $984. Considering, of course, the launch price was 2.5K in 2019 and 1.3K roughly when Hardware Zone covered this last year, it's a little cheaper now lah. But is it worth buying? Let's move down the list to find out. Well, next up is Gigabyte's Aorus FV43U. This is part of a range of three new 4K 144Hz monitors released in April this year. It's a massive 43.5-inch VA display with sRGB at 150% and DCI-P3 at 97%, which is very impressive coverage. The screen is also super bright with display HDR at 1000, and it also includes DisplayPort 1.4 with compression and HDMI 2.1. So this is the perfect display for those looking to get a screen for work and play in the living room. At the current launch price of about 1.6K, it's still cheaper than an LG OLED display. So it's quite a viable alternative for those who just want the maximum refresh rate. For those of you who, like me, we are actually not looking for a living room display, let's move on to the next monitor on my list. And at number 3, I have the Gigabyte Aorus FI32U. It's a large 31.5-inch Innolux Super Speed IPS display with sRGB at 123% and DCI-P3 at 95% coverage. The max brightness isn't the best. With display HDR rating of 400, it also comes with display stream compression and HDMI 2.1. I think this should be the standard for all new 4K 144Hz monitors in the future. However, with its launch price at around 1.5K, this monitor still feels like poor value to me. So let's see if things can change with the next one on the list. Now we come to number 2, which is LG UltraGear 27GN950. This impressive monitor blew me away back when they released it in 2020. It has a 27-inch nano IPS display that has 100% sRGB and 98% DCI-P3 coverage. Coupled with a display HDR rating of 600, I still think it's the best panel in the market for 4K 144Hz gaming. This LG flagship display comes with display stream compression, but unfortunately, it only has HDMI 2.0, which is my biggest complaint. And currently, I was able to find it listed for about 1.2K. And at that price, I don't think it's worth it lah. I mean, with that, let's move on to the best display of 2021. Dun, 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 dun. And at number 1, it's Gigabyte's M28U. This has gotten me excited for 4K 144Hz gaming again. It has a 28.5-inch super speed IPS display with 120% sRGB and 94% DCI-P3 coverage. With a display HDR rating of 400, that's the only flaw I can really find in this display. The M28U also comes with display stream compression and HDMI 2.1, making it perfect in terms of connectivity. Launching at a price of $999, this is the cheapest launch price I've ever seen for any 4K 144Hz display here in Singapore. This is why I think, personally, that the M28U is the number 1 4K 144Hz monitor here in Singapore. And I really hope there's enough stock for everyone who wants one. Now, let's go through that list again. Now for all of you who TLDR, you've come to the right place. So let's recap the 4K 144Hz gaming monitors I've shared today. At number 5 is the Acer Predator XP273K. You can consider it when everything else on this list is sold out. At number 4, it's Gigabyte's FV43U. Perfect if you have a high-end gaming PC in the living room already, or if you have the PS5 or Xbox Series X. At number 3 is Gigabyte's FI32U. It's the total package, but really expensive. And at number 2 is LG's 27GN950. If you just want the best IPS panel and you don't care about HDMI 2.1, that's the monitor for you. And for the best 4K 144Hz gaming monitor, I'm giving that recommendation to Gigabyte's M28U. It has a good IPS panel, display stream compression, HDMI 2.1, and the unbeatable launch price of $999. There's no better value in the market. And for those of you who are ready to buy these monitors, you can support my channel by clicking on my channel links below, but no obligations. If you can find it cheaper elsewhere, please go ahead and buy it, as prices do fluctuate quite a lot, especially on Amazon. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.